We remind you of the top 25 coming into this season. Clemson leads the way as the reigning national champions. They have a ranked matchup of their own this week, taking on Indiana tomorrow. Georgetown and Pittsburgh meet as well. We're going to find out a lot about this top 25 early on. Maryland in 20th and New Hampshire in 9th. We welcome you now into the booth alongside Olympic bronze medalist and NWSL veteran Kaylin Kyle. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you along this evening. And Kaylin, there are a few better ways to begin the season. Ranked on ranked, story program against new up-and-coming program. Doesn't get much better than this.
I think my smile tells it all. I'm like a little kid on Christmas right now because what Maryland did really well in preseason is they went out and they played top opponents. They could have gone out and played middle of the pack and got the results that they were looking for, that goal scoring that they didn't know who was going to put the ball into the back of the net. And then on the flip side, New Hampshire, just a wealth of experience. But it's that back line, obviously, one returning from the starting 11 from last season, so a big test for them here today.
And on the Maryland side, they're used to winning 4 national titles under Sasho Shirovsky. The last one came in 2018. They haven't brought home any hardware since then. They want to return to excellence this year.
They do, and this is the one thing I love about the manager is he spoke very highly of this team, about the veterans, about the leaders in here. They know how to win. Unfortunately, obviously, due to COVID, young players turning pro early, they weren't able to mesh within those 3 years, but this team, he said, they resemble that 2018 winning mentality. On the flip side, again, New Hampshire, you look at them. Look at those statistics. I mean, statistics don't lie, but it's great to go unbeaten in the regular season, but can you do it in the most important games? It's a huge test for them. I touched on this back line, so it's going to be early on. Can they just stay solidified in that back four, have that vocal communication, and use that veteran experience? An experience, I'm going to say it time and time again, because this team is filled with it in every single position.
We've got a pair of top 20 teams coming your way to begin the regular season here. New Hampshire and Maryland is next from Ludwig Field on ESPNU. Starting 11s for both programs tonight, beginning with the host, Maryland.
You look at the attacking threats here, and the big star for me is Joshua Balma. I mean, he's just so good. He's good with the ball at his feet. He loves to suck out those back fours. And then the runs from wide areas. Hunter George gets to start 2 goals in preseason out of the 5.
On the other side for New Hampshire, Mark Hubbard counters with this lineup. It'll look more like a diamond as things go along. A lot of new faces on the back line.
Yeah, and it's tough to play against a diamond, especially when they do have the fitness, but it's the back line. Bennett gets a start there. Obviously, a starter last season. And someone that comes back in is the center back's playing next to him. He was out due to injury, started the first 5 games, and then they missed him. But those wing backs and full backs, they're going to play a huge role in this, getting up, creating the overloads in wide areas to help with this diamond. Because one thing with a diamond, it's a lot of work, but that is where it will kill you. In transition, in those wide areas when those fullbacks do get forward and create overloads.
Now, this Maryland team struggled in terms of their goal scoring last year. As compared to years prior, it wasn't their forte. They only returned 10 of the 29 goals they scored as a team last season. On the other side, New Hampshire, most of their goal scoring is back. You don't have Tola Shoumni up top of the formation. We will likely see him off the bench as the match goes along. He is the reigning America East Conference striker of the year for this Wildcat side. And they're led through the middle by Johan van Nebel. Likes to get forward in the attack. Strong number 10, had 4 goals and 9 assists last season.
What was really interesting when I went back and watched last season's games from New Hampshire, they led in almost everything. Goals, assists, playmaking, through balls in that final third. But one thing that struck me is they also led in the most fouls last season, which for me, if you're looking at this from Maryland with this unknown of this front 3, you need to go at them, get in and around that 18-yard box, maybe pick up a foul and go with a go-ahead goal on a set piece early on in this match. Really set the tempo early.
These two teams did not shy away from finding another top-ranked team to begin this season. They know it boosts the RPI for both of them, win or lose. It looks really nice if it goes on the resume, though, as a victory. And Bear Estrada is the referee in charge of this one tonight. Maryland from right to left in the white, New Hampshire from left to right in the blue and gray. At Ludwig Field in move-in week at the University of Maryland. The fans are ready to get things going. And we're underway from College Park. The 2022 season begins for the 9th-ranked Wildcats and the 20th-ranked Terrapins. Glad to have you with us on ESPNU. Alongside Kaylin Kyle, I'm Joe Malfa. Balma looking to turn. O'Driscoll is taken down by Bulma. And Joshua Bulma, you'll see him move around the field for Maryland. Last year, more of an out-and-out winger, has the ability to go forward and score, but Sasha Surofsky sees him similar to Ben Bender, the #1 pick of the most recent MLS draft, where he can affect the game a little bit more by dropping in and distributing. But a quick attack here for New Hampshire the other way. Neumann off his line, able to grab it.
And it's that quick transition as well with New Hampshire. They just have to be careful with Maryland. But I love that you alluded to that with Joshua Bulma. But someone that can help with that is Hunter George. He's so good at unbalancing teams with the ball at his feet, getting behind in the back line. So I'm really interested to see that partnership as this season moves on.
Both of these teams excel in terms of opening the season. Under Mark Hubbard, New Hampshire, 6 wins and a loss in season openers. And over the last decade, Maryland 8-1-1 at home. To begin the season, their only loss came behind closed doors in that spring 2021 season. Yannick Bright, a midfielder of the year in 2021 in the America East Conference. So they've got the striker of the year on the bench, the midfielder of the year in the starting 11. Over the top, it falls for Van Gnebel. And cleared away by William Kolvik. Griffin Dillon coming off the left side here for the Terps. That was the one question mark coming in for Sasha Surofsky when he gave us the starting 11. He hadn't yet made up his mind whether he would have Griffin Dillon on the left and Hunter George on the right. He might flip them as the game goes along. 2 good options to have.
I was going to say that's a manager's dream to be able to have 2 wingers that can play on both sides, because it's very difficult tactically of how you pick them up. If you're looking at someone like Hunter George, you just saw him on this right-hand side that cut across through to his left. So as a defender, especially when you're playing that diamond midfield, there's got to be a lot more vocal communication and cover and support to be able to deal with the trickiness of these wing plays.
Out to Nick Richardson, the only holdover from the 2018 National Championship winning team. Redshirted that year with an injury, and now one of the captains for the team. Liam Bennett harassed by Bulma. One back in the midfield by Johnston. Looks long, taken down by Griffin Dillon, and one by Gustavo Rodriguez.
And you know I'm smiling every time you say the name Malcolm Johnston. Obviously a Canadian. I am a former Canadian national team player. His brother obviously with the full team with the men's side that will be making their way to Qatar. So, I mean, speaking to the manager, though, they spoke so highly of him, that he is such an outstanding player, loves to screen up the front, but then is that playmaker as well. I can't tell you enough, Surofsky, the good words that he said about him.
With the crew, we had the over-under set at 5 minutes at how quick you would be to mention your Canadian brethren over there. So we had the under here.
No.
Maryland will have to defend a set piece here.
I'm proud to be Canadian. Come on now. I got,
hey,
I got 2 American boys, Canadian, married an Englishman. So we got it all in our family.
Jamie Davis, an Englishman himself, strides over to take the free kick with Gustavo Rodriguez. Davis, one of the newcomers, a graduate transfer from St. Peter's University in New Jersey. They're very excited about the left foot he possesses on set pieces like this. See if we get our first glimpse of that Jamie Davis left foot. And we will. Whips it in toward the top of the 6. Bulma recovers. Deflected centrally. Alert to it, Rindal for the clearance. Mark Hubbard prides himself on this team being the most tactically prepared for each game. There's a defensive devotion from the group. They want to pin you back. They want to win the ball high, pressure you into mistakes. And just about 5 minutes in, we're seeing that as they come up the left side.
One thing that Maryland's going to have to just focus on is right here. I love this shot because Van Gnebel, what he is doing, he's just popping off the back 4, getting in those half positions, getting that quick check over his shoulder, and kind of causing havoc for this Maryland back line. Who steps, who covers, who supports. So as this game wears on, just keep your eye on number 8 for New Hampshire.
Neumann gets it back into play. seems to be the unquestioned starter to begin this season in goal from Maryland. 18 starts as a freshman, had an injury as a sophomore in that spring 2021 season that limited him to just 3 games. And then last year, resumed his starting role, 14 starts for the program. He's actually roommates with the backup goalkeeper, and Sasho asked him before the year started, are you sure you want to do this? You're going to be competing with each other, but they are the best of friends. Jasim Koliat on the other end, one of the best in the nation last year, 2nd in terms of his goals against average, and 10th in clean sheets, 4th in save percentage. Just every category we measure goalkeepers by, he was up near the top, the senior from Dubai. Luca Castabile just joined in June. Comes over from Denmark as a freshman, right into that starting left back role for Sasho Sarovsky and crew. Bolmo wins it. Dillon coughs it up. Here's O'Driscoll. On the turn, Mayer. Paul Mayer, end line, looks in front, back post. Opportunity for New Hampshire goes by the wayside. Neumann wasn't sure how to read it. Eli Goldman had a chance at it.
And just a few moments earlier, I was talking about on the flip side, but it's these areas where they're just popping off this back line. Got to stay a little bit closer, not allow this cross to come in. But then you got to mark inside your 18-yard box. It's technically a 2v1. I mean, and just that free run on the back post doesn't connect on it, but great service from that wide area. Maryland look a little bit shaky in this back four early on in this match.
Neumann, a vocal leader at the back. Doesn't wear an armband, but one of the unquestioned leaders of this team. See if he can calm down some of the jitters early on the back end against this New Hampshire high pressure. O'Driscoll dives in and wins it cleanly. Rory O'Driscoll, 13 goals and 4 assists in his time so far at New Hampshire. 3-time All-America East honoree, 1-time midfielder of the year. So I mentioned Yannick Bright had won that recently. O'Driscoll won it the year prior, so the last 2 years, the midfielders of the year in the America East Conference, out there now in the starting 11 for New Hampshire. Lofted ahead, Neumann has it lined up, comes through and secures it over Von Nebel.
You can just see the pace of this game, and this isn't abnormal to see the first game, obviously, of the season, but when you're New Hampshire, look at how high they're pressing up the pitch. They're getting numbers forward, and they want you to cough it up. So for Maryland, stop trying to make those easy passes out the back so predictable. You look at how narrow they are. Have that quick switch of play. You can see this foul coming in here. That's just the first tackle of the season, isn't it? But once Maryland get it, they have to switch the point of the attack. Use your center midfielders, that double pivot screen that you're using. Hit wide areas quicker.
Bolma through the middle. And a free kick on the way for the Terps.
It comes back to that point that I made earlier on when I went back to watch last season of New Hampshire, the amount of fouls that they pick up in dangerous areas. So this is where Maryland can really take hold of this. It's that quick turn, quick switch of play, and it's that first clinical touch. He sees that defender coming across him. He knows that he's going to get the call on this one. It's a brilliant first touch here just to come across. And Balma, this is what we touched on in the opening with him. He's so smart because his vision and awareness off the ball. He knows exactly where the defenders are.
Hunter George and Joshua Bolma stand over the free kick now. Bolma was calling for a card after he went down. No card was issued by Eber Estrada. Right on the outskirts here. Looks like they're poised for a strike, be it Hunter George or Joshua Bolma. It is Bolma right into the wall. Von Nebel, it looked like, took that right off the forehead. Bolma's second crack at it. It got past the wall this time, but ended up wayward of the goal frame.
And well done by the wall. This is one of the worst positions, I think, as a player that you want to be in. You hate being the tall person on the team because you're always stuck in the wall. It's a great strike, and they kind of gambled with it as well. Do we jump and take that risk of getting us a little bit higher? And I think it was the right call because it was outside the 18 far enough where you're not going to have the pace and power to beat under the wall in a goalkeeper. Over
the top here, looking for Gemate. Maryland all of a sudden now counter-punching, going with it the other way. All the way back to Neumann, very comfortable playing out of the back with his feet. One of the reasons that he locked down that starting role. Long the other way, up the right side. Griffin Dillon on his horse trying to get there, centers it, nobody there. A very late run from Giammattei. Balma turns. Look to the referee, hoping for another call, didn't get it, now Costabile. Dillon centers for Nitzel. Ballooned over to the right side. Richardson waits for it, taken down hard. Paul Mayer put a strong shoulder through the back of Nick Richardson. William Kovic over for a little word after that challenge, but a contrite Paul Mayer helps Richardson to his feet.
And I did say there was going to be a lot of fouls in this. That was one of the stats that really stuck out to me. But just look at the momentum and how it shifted. And it was because Maryland decided to play that Route 1 football. Get the ball in behind. You have good wingers in Hunter George, whether he's on the left or Griffin Dillon, that can swap from left to right. Get it in behind. It was a good ball across. Just no one making that daunting run inside the 18. A good buildup from Maryland. I love that they can play out, but then when they can switch that point of attack and catch New Hampshire just out of shape a little bit.
From the free kick, driven toward the 6. A flicked header goalward was deflected out for a corner. Chris Rindolph had a couple of goals last season, the center back now in his senior year. Quick corner taken. Balma sends it in. Comes all the way through for Dillon. Maryland wasting no time getting that corner into play, trying to catch New Hampshire off guard, maybe taking advantage again of a new look back line with 3 of the 4 players. Not typical starters from last season. Dillon. And it goes New Hampshire's way off the ricochet. Mark Hubbard said they prepared as much as they could for a season opening match, just had to be ready to adapt on the fly. They spent a couple of weeks, these last couple of weeks, going back and looking at last year's tape of Maryland to pick up some tendencies, knowing that it's an experienced team that retains a lot of players to pick up some little things, but it was more time spent in the build-up introspectively. Same thing on the other side for Sasho Sarovsky. There wasn't anything they could find really on New Hampshire from the preseason. They went back to last year's games, and at some point just said, you know what, we've got to be our best, and we'll take it from there.
Well, you can tell both of these sides have really focused on themselves, but also something that they focused on is their fitness. This doesn't look like the first game of the season. It's been back and forth, heavy tackles, switch of play, that cover support. I mean, this literally almost feels like a final.
The question is, can they sustain it in the first game of the season?
They're young. Of course they can.
Fair enough. Hunter George ahead to Balma. Balma with some fancy footwork. Cuts in, back to his right foot. Balma still looking for an option. Sent toward the back post. Dillon there, heads it centrally, and in! Hunter George opens the scoring this season for the Terps.
And what a goal this is for Maryland in the early stages of this first. I mean, you look at who it was, though. We have spoken so highly of him. Manager has spoken so highly of him. Look at these fancy feet. Smooth, silky, controlled, powerful. Then he has the pace, that vision and awareness we spoke about. A great ball from the wide area. I love this little knockback across. He could have put this one on target, and could have been selfish. He decided, no, I see ya in the 18-yard box on marks, and we touched on Hunter George. Whether it's from the left side, the right side, he was brilliant in preseason. 2 out of the 5 goals, and makes his mark early, getting the start here today.
It seemed like the seeds were being planted for Hunter George to emerge as a goal scorer this year in that preseason for Maryland. Didn't really materialize last year. 9 starts, 1 goal, 1 assist. His first season with the program after transferring from San Diego State, where he got off to a great start to his career as a freshman. 5 goals, all Pac-12 honoree. The scoring never persisted after that freshman year. perhaps it's back now as a senior.
And it takes confidence, though. And once you get one, it almost feels like the weight of the world is lifted off your shoulders. When strikers go into those goal-scoring droughts or wingers go into those goal-scoring droughts, it comes down to confidence. And I love that this manager has instilled confidence in him in preseason. He's spoken highly of him in press conferences, to us on the phone. That gets back to players. You can see him playing freely here. He started out on the right-hand side. He's over on the left-hand side. He's rolling centrally. He's inside the 18-yard box. And it's a brilliant finish, by the way, with a little bit of pressure from front and from behind. Just to hit that on the half volley. 1-0 Maryland. Well done. The
only two spots, remember, that Sasha Starovsky wasn't sure of coming into this game. Would it be Dylan on the left, George on the right? Would they switch throughout the game? Well, it was Dylan on the left, George on the right that time, and they combined for a goal. Now, how does New Hampshire respond? This is a program that has not lost a regular season game in a long time. You have to go all the way back to November 1st, 2019, a 1-0 loss against the University of Albany. Since then, 25 games unbeaten in the regular season. And now we'll have to battle back. Certainly capable of it. They threatened in the first 10 minutes of the match.
And we talked about that momentum shift, and it was when Maryland decided to hit it long on that one opportunity and not play out the back. Now you can see the gap starting to open up and that confidence building. That's where that goal came from. I mean, Balma, he made magic happen. Let's just call a spade a spade. Was so smooth, was so silky on the ball, and this is what makes him such a good player.
Balma was Top Drawer Soccer's #1 ranked freshman at the mid-season point back in 2021, finished the year #5. And now at the end of this season, perhaps could have his eyes set on the MLS draft and something more, like Ben Bender did. Through here, out of the middle, Von Niebel somehow took it down, but then had it caught up between the feet before he could get it over to Eli Goldman. Maryland long the other way. Diving header away from Colliot. Adventurous early moment from the goalkeeper. Back into Balma. Switches it for Costabile. Costabile whips it in. Into that corridor of uncertainty. Colliot started coming for it. Headed away by Nils Buchwalder for a Maryland corner.
This is such a great ball from a deep, wide area. Again, it's Joshua Balma that hits that quick switch of play. I love this, that early ball swinging away from the goalkeeper in behind that back four. So goes out for a good set piece opportunity from this corner kick.
Now Balma from the corner, sends it back post. Colliot punches away. Costabile back out to Balma. Balma for Costabile and back again. Balma toward the back post. Ends up on top of the netting. And we have two great MLS Western Conference matches for you tomorrow night. The first one has first place LAFC taking on second place Austin FC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Then it's a Cascadia Cup matchup between the rival Timbers and Sounders at Providence Park. Both are on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Colliot making friends with the Maryland crowd behind him. For Mark Hubbard's side, this is where you start learning a bit about yourself early in the season. You know what the goal is, and the goal is to win a national championship. They've been there in the past where they've started to find their way through the regular season, through the America East tournament. They've made it to a couple of rounds of 16 under him, and there's a fan injured here after that ball was sent out, causing this delay in the action. So a chance now for Mark Hubbard to bring his guys over to the sideline and talk through overcoming this early adversity.
How can you not like the kid even more? I mean, an unbelievable player goes over there just to make sure he's okay. Things you hate to see, but Looks like he seems to be okay. But just jumping back to your point with New Hampshire and just, how since Mark Hubbard's come in, they've been able to get, he's brought the program back to that new heights. I mean, you look at it, brought it the first 3 American East Tournament champions, 2018, 2019, 2020, and then 5 straight NCAA tournament appearances from 2017 to 2021. Now, you alluded to it. It's when they have gone on the road, they cannot get the job done later on in this tournament. So I think one thing for them is, it's great to go undefeated during a season, but can you build your program about resilience? It's very difficult to do, especially at such a young age. And these are those moments where you really have to grind out those results.
Said there's a laser focus from the group going into this season, coming off the way last year ended. Of course, as you mentioned, the great job through the regular season, but they stumbled in the conference title game, faltered at the end, lost 1-0 to Vermont in the America East title game. And then from that point on, instead of being able to host in the NCAA tournament, they find themselves going on the road. They beat UNC on the road. Then they go up against Oregon State and falter on the road. This year, the goal is simple. They want to, of course, be undefeated again in the regular season, but moreover than that, they want to be in a position to win their conference tournament and host all the way until the College Cup. He says if he has his way, they will not go on the road until it's the neutral site College Cup.
Well, that's everyone's dream. I think it's so difficult, especially being in America. I don't think people realize how big the country is. I mean, the flights, accommodation, trying to stay hydrated, trying to do the proper nutrition in airports, sitting on a bus for a long period of time. You want that home field advantage. You want to play in front of your home crowd.
They get it in from the free kick. Neumann watches it harmlessly by his near post. And that's part of the reason why New Hampshire got together with Maryland to make this matchup happen. They know from a conference like the America East, although a growing conference that has sent more teams to the NCAA tournament recently on runs to the Final Four like UMBC in 2014, they know they need to boost that RPI, and that comes with scheduling these marquee opponents out of the gates. And as their schedule unfolds over the next few matchups, they play number 18 FIU. They play number 16 Providence, although Providence's ranking might take a hit. They lost today 3-2 against Colgate. So they scheduled 3 top 20 opponents, non-conference, in their first 5 matches. They know the importance of that RPI. They know the importance of securing one of those top 8 seeds going into the NCAA tournament. But early on, they have some trouble to deal with here. Down 1 against Maryland here at Ludwig Field. Alongside Kalen Kyle, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you along as these two teams, 9th ranked New Hampshire, 20th ranked Maryland, begin the season on ESPNU. Dillon puts it in front. It's deflected away. Shouts from the crowd and from the bench for Maryland. No foul given. Eli Goldman looks to clear.
You look what home field advantage does. Look at that. Makes that sliding tackle, gets stuck up. But it's, for me, the wingers for this Maryland side that are the game changers. Yes, we can talk about Joshua Balma. That has been fantastic. But both Dylan and George have been phenomenal. The ability to roll inside, interchanging from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, that quick switch of play as well. They really have grown into this match.
Here's Von Nebel barreling through. Mustabile able to knock it away. 25 minutes remaining here in half number 1. Just an early reminder to folks tuning in, no longer will we have overtime in the regular season should we be tied at the end of regulation. Something to keep in mind as we get into the later stages in what is still a 1-goal game. Neither coach, Mark Hubbard or Sasho Sarovsky, thought much about that rule as far as impacting the way they coach a game. They said the same thing, shared the same sentiments coming into this season. Compared to previous years, they're always looking to win it in 90 anyway, and they're going to do anything they can to win it in 90. They don't tweak their coaching at all based on the looming specter of a potential overtime. So for both coaches here, status quo, nothing really changes. Long toss out of the corner up toward Balma. Headed away by Buchwalder. Right back to the attack here, New Hampshire.
Oof.
Von Nebel to the end line, puts it in front. Mayer looking to turn, sends it to the backside. Might have been a shot. Zipped all the way through. Eli Goldman was alone and open.
And Jan Von Nebel has been so impressive in this first half for me. I mean, just the ability, gets on that half turn. I spoke about it early on in this first half, just so good popping off that line. But then having the skill set with a big, tall, strong player, gets a little bit of a nutmeg, and then has that little bit of vision and awareness to just knock this one into the box. Just tries to go for that far post, misses it just wide. But I like that connection with Mayer and Von Niebel. I think this is going to be something I think they can work on moving forward, just getting into those dangerous areas. But they got to have that wing play, and that's that one thing when you do play with a diamond midfield, your fullbacks have to get more involved. Far too isolated up top for me.
Haven't heard much from Chris Pinkham on the left side or Gustavo Rodriguez on the right side. But to your point, we've heard plenty from Von Niebel centrally, and that's what Mark Hubbard wanted. He said, some of the most dangerous moments this attack can provide, it's when Von Niebel sneaks out of that midfield and makes that charge up himself, almost as an extra striker on the ball now. In his second year with the program, Von Niebel. Four goals, 9 assists last year. Flicked on to the far post by Mayer, and just wide. New Hampshire finding a footing again here over the last few moments.
Good ball from that wide area, and we touched on it. The fullbacks getting more involved. This is what they needed. Service from the wide area. They got those big bodies inside the box, but just that wide area just wasn't there early on in this match. Great service. Unlucky not to be able to redirect this one on net, but good service. And for Paul Mayer just to get up and over those two defenders, well done.
Through 2 seasons now, Paul Mayer, another one of those graduate students here for New Hampshire, going back to the spring of 21 and then the fall. He's got 11 goals and 7 assists through 26 matches played. 2-time first team All-America East. So the pieces are certainly there for New Hampshire, especially the experienced pieces. You look up and down the starting 11, and you have yourself a handful of graduate seniors making up the heart and soul of this team. Here's that pressure again. Von Niebel wins it. Has the overlap from O'Driscoll. Now Von Niebel again, cutting in, keeping his footing, almost went down. Back to O'Driscoll. And finally the swarm of white jerseys able to get it clear. Bolma looking to break free. Now wide to George, back to Bolma. And now Colliot. Well read by Richardson. Now from his right back position. Scoop to Bolma. Goes down, tried to win the free kick, edge of the area. And now something on for Chris Pinkham with speed up the left side. Mayer has Goldman streaking centrally. Von Niebel flashes. Malcolm Johnston setting the tempo in the midfield now for Maryland.
You see the tempos kind of drop with New Hampshire, and this is what naturally happens when you do have that diamond midfield shape because of the amount of distance that you have to cover. If your fullbacks aren't doing the job, you're even having to cover much more ground, both defensively and offensively. So I know we touched on how long can they do it, and I said they can do it forever. They're young, but no one can do a diamond midfield forever. It's extremely difficult. You've got to pick your moments of when to press and when to sit in.
Griffin Dillon slips it through for Costabile. Now Johnston. Hunter George, the goal scorer, leaves it for Richardson. Some contact in the area, and it is out for a corner.
It's just a well-timed tackle, but look at the overloads that Maryland create. This is that difference in the team, just more numbers getting forward, creating that 2v1, but an absolutely brilliant time tackle inside that 18-yard box.
In swinger, falls out to Griffin Dillon. Eyeing up his options, just deflected through. Colliot wise to it. The college football season starts Saturday, and the 17th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff game has Howard squaring off against Alabama State at Center Parc Stadium in Atlanta, formerly Turner Field. Our celebration of the HBCUs begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app. Looks like New Hampshire preparing its first change of the match. Drop back by Jamie Davis. Haven't seen him on the ball much to go ahead and use that gift of a left foot that Mark Hubbard raved about.
I think a lot of it comes down to Yannick Bright, that central midfield. He spoke so highly on him as well offensively. Defensively, he's done well, but offensively has to get on the ball more. You can see just kind of hiding in and around those attacking players. You've got to use your angles a little bit better. Almost create a back three, drop between your two center backs, allow your fullbacks to get high and wide.
Maryland appears set to counter with some changes of their own, heading into the final 18 minutes of half number one. Dylan Maxson, Bilal Kamal coming on for New Hampshire. Stefan Capetti, Colin Griffith coming in for Maryland. Herman Jamate is the one who exits for the freshman, Colin Griffith. And pardon me, that second sub for Maryland was Hunter George off for Stefan Capetti. Here's Griffith. All right, third time's a charm. I apologize for that. Not Costabile, not Hunter George. It's Griffin Dillon who came off in the end for Stefan Capetti. Jamie Davis, Eli Goldman, the ones who came off for New Hampshire in favor of Dylan Maxson and Bilal Kamal. Here's O'Driscoll. Griffith gets to it for a moment. Yannick Bright takes it the other way. Now Von Nebel. Von Nebel looking inward toward Mayer. It was on. The volley put back in front. The substitute almost making an impact. Shouting for handball. Waved off for the moment by Eber Estrada. Bilal Kamal comes right on and makes his presence known.
And this is exactly what you want from a substitute, someone that can change the game, change the momentum, because Maryland were putting New Hampshire on the back foot here. Here's the replay of it, of the potential handball, and it doesn't look to see as if the player is making his body bigger with it. It's a difficult angle to see here, but I think it is the correct call. At first, I thought it was a handball from this angle, but referee making the right decision there.
Costabile. Dylan Maxson comes on as an interesting piece for New Hampshire. They're expecting more out of him off the bench this year. His first couple of years in the program, only 5 appearances over 2 years. Last year, 16 appearances, all off the bench, 2 assists. So he provided that spark they needed in the attack off the bench. Inside of 15 remaining now in half number one. Stefan Capetti brought down. Now Von Nebel with it for New Hampshire. Rolls it ahead of Mayer. Looks like Mayer might be running out of steam a little bit atop the line here for New Hampshire. Anytime it's been sent his way, they struggle to get to that ball. Maxson brought down from behind by Boma. Set piece on the way here for New Hampshire. But Jamie Davis, remember, came off in that last change with Maxson on, so they don't have their prioritized set piece taker out there anymore. See who steps up for it this time. Al Kamal looks keen for it. Mario Driscoll over for a look as well. It is Kamal, unable to get it by the first man. Out for a Wildcats throw down near the corner flag. Malcolm Johnston getting everybody organized here for Maryland. Gearing up perhaps for a long throw. Look where everybody's lining up now for New Hampshire. Chris Pinkham has come over from left back to take this one. Just asked the ball kid for a dry ball. It did rain earlier. He wants to launch this one. And he does toward the near post. Out for a volley. It sneaks through, but wide. Took a last second deflection. And it's a corner on the way for the Wildcats.
I think this is Von Niebel that flicks this one across. This is a set piece drawn up straight from the training ground. Great little set piece, top of the 18-yard box. To strike this one first time on that half volley, it's brilliant. Keeps it low, hard driven. Is hoping for that redirection, that ricochet in front of the 18-yard box.
Kamal sends it back post. And some contact in the area before anything materialized. Foul against the Wildcats. Down a goal here in the early stages. Have to make the most of set pieces like that when they come along.
And I believe it was Liam Bennett on the hit there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but it's so extremely difficult to do, and he makes it look easy, and he hits it perfectly. Tries to take a little bit of a bounce onto the ground just to catch maybe the goalkeeper out, a defender trying to, that last-ditch tackle, redirection, so it's fantastic.
That'll go all the way through for a goal kick. And here comes some more changes on the Maryland side. Joe Sahetsky in, Alex Nitzel off. Joe Sahetsky, the redshirt sophomore, made 4 starts in the spring 2021 season. And then just 2 starts last year before an injury cut his season short after 3 games, granted a medical redshirt. A player who Sasho Sarovsky expects to be in the rotation in that holding midfield role pretty regularly for the Terps as the year goes along. Sahetsky will get the last 10 minutes of this first half, plus perhaps more to begin the second. Von Niebel leaves it for Pinkham. Richardson knocks it out. They're trying to get the wingers more involved, Kalen, to your point that you were making a few moments ago. It just hasn't really materialized for the Wildcats.
No, and I think that's why I would have loved to have seen, I think I touched on him, Yannick Bright defensively has been so sound, but just to drop through to those 2 center backs, create almost a back 3, allow your full backs to get higher and wider just to create a little bit more, because you lose your width when you do play that diamond midfield.
Pinkham. Capetti back to clear. Kamal volleys it wide.
Kamal's really impressed me since coming into this match. I think he's added that spark, but then he's also added a different platform. I think everything has gone through Von Niebel, through the middle of the pitch, because they haven't had that wide area consistently. So I love that they brought someone like Kamal in, and he's just almost playing off Von Niebel. Von Niebel rolls wide. He's just playing a little bit more centrally and creating havoc.
It almost seems like a matter of time before Von Niebel does something in this game, be it a goal, be it assist, to at least create something dangerous for New Hampshire.
He's been outstanding.
was Hunter George. 13 minutes and 22 seconds into the match. The lone tally so far here in this ranked-unranked matchup. 3 of those around the country in this first week of the season. Also have Georgetown against Pittsburgh, number 2 versus number 7 later tonight. And then tomorrow, top-ranked Clemson, the reigning champs, take on 13th-ranked Indiana. Both of these teams will play on Sunday. Maryland hosts Liberty, and New Hampshire goes home to host Boston University. Quick turnaround for both of them. Justin Harris now into the match for Hunter George, so the goal scorer gets a quick breather before halftime. Harris featured more as a freshman than he did as his sophomore and a junior combined. Now as a senior, has an opportunity to impact play as a winger off the bench. Costabile. Now Bolma. Seems to have a great command of that midfield, Bolma.
His positioning is just outstanding. I mean, whether it's behind the midfield unit or in front of the midfield unit, he just knows how to manipulate defenders, and not just getting on the half turn, knowing spatial awareness as well, and playing quick. He knows he can take on 2 or 3 defenders. He's got the skill sets to do it, but that's the difference between a good and a great player, knowing when to dribble and when to release to your other teammates, and he has gotten it right so far tonight.
And last year, Sasha Swarovski felt that maybe Bolma was playing a little bit too fast, coming in, a wide-eyed freshman, all the talent in the world, all the physical attributes in the world, but he needed to slow it down a little bit with the tactical ability he has, the vision he has, and the intelligence he has. Can really impact that game from the midfield role, especially in transition. And we've seen it so far in this first half. Now Capetti on the turn, slips it through toward Bolma, making that run out of the midfield. Bolma just wide.
And this is what I mean from good to great with this player. He comes in, fakes that he's going to get on the ball, and you can see just this little bit of brilliance here with Capetta. Gets his head up, it's good vision, but the strength to hold off that first defender with the arm, sees the other defender coming across, and it's that half little touch on the outside of the foot, just misses this one wide, but outstanding play.
Another change for New Hampshire, Tag Healy into the match. Addie Hicks in as well. Rory O'Driscoll gives way for Addie Hicks. So they've rotated now. There are 2 strikers and there are 2 wingers, New Hampshire. Davis, O'Driscoll, Goldman, and Mayer all off in favor of Maxon, Kamal, Healy, and Hicks. So Mark Hubbard unhappy perhaps with the way things have gone offensively in this first half, trying to spark some change. They have 5 shots as a team, which equals Maryland, but 3 of Maryland's 5 on target, none of New Hampshire's 5 on target.
It's just about being clinical, like you just alluded to with that stat. I think just having the calmness in and around that 18-yard box, but then also options. You can see almost maybe that forced pass, that forced shot, because there's no options to maybe play back and then around again to get a better goal-scoring opportunity. Whereas when Maryland have gone into that attacking third, they've been ruthless. They see the goal, they have that little bit of bite between their teeth, and then they have numbers following it up as well.
And ruthless is a word that came up in our conversation with Sasha Swarovski. They have that same relentlessness defensively they've had in years past, but the last couple of years since that national title in 2018, they've lacked the ruthlessness offensively to pair with that relentless defending. We've seen it early here, Kalen. See if they can keep it going as this match and this season go along. He was getting a bit testy after the ball was played away. Pinkham retrieves. And Richardson throwing a conversation here with Heber Estrada. Just a stern warning from Estrada after he played the ball away. Nick Richardson. Recruited as a right back, developed into a holding midfielder, can also play center back. Now back at right back. He can move anywhere for Maryland. In his most comfortable position now.
That's a great asset to have, to be a versatile player, especially if you're looking to go pro as well. There's a lot of teams, especially in Major League Soccer, a lot of games in a short amount of time, a lot of travel. And if a player goes down injured or you have those 3 games in 1 week, it's great to be able to slot into numerous roles.
Costabile. Player down back behind the play is Capetti. Slow to his feet. Addy Hicks wants to play quickly here. Has Kamal as an option. Hicks just made 7 appearances combined between the spring and fall of 2021. On it now. Yannick Bright. Back for Liam Bennett. Nils Buchwalder. Brought down by Griffith. Got into camp a little bit late for Maryland. Missed some time because he was at the MLS Next All-Star game in Minnesota. MLS Next Player of the Year. They're very excited about the freshman and what he can do atop the line. Sent his way here. Johnston nods it wide. Richardson closing in. Stopped by Colliot, loose in front. And Griffith missed the opportunity.
And he's not gonna want to watch this one back. He's gonna see this one in his dreams, but a good win here. Keeps that first ball alive. Good little individual flair and brilliance down this right-hand side. A brilliant strike. Good goalkeeping save, but you gotta put this one on target. Either take the time to settle this, put it back down. I know that he's got that defender coming down, but he sees the defender go to ground on that first knee. He's got time to take this with his left foot and then just slot this one bottom corner. But if you want to hit this, you got to get over the ball just a little bit better.
Jocelyn Colliot doing his part to keep this team in it. He's made a couple of stops now.
I'm saying this never been a striker and never scoring a lot of goals. Always easier said than done.
A really long, athletic goalkeeper. Colliot covers the whole frame.
That's a great goalkeeping save, by the way. Just that power of the shot, just in the right position. You can see him move his feet a little bit quick to get across to be able to make that stop. Fantastic. Another good build-up from Maryland, though. And I think a little bit of the difference here as well that Maryland's been, I would say, just edging over New Hampshire is just that first and second phase balls. They're winning that first one, they're winning that second one, and then it's that quick release in that attacking third. And we spoke of the word ruthlessness, and I think they've done that both defensively and offensively.
Final minute of play here in half number 1. Tague Healy. Drops it back for Pinkham. Now Von Nebel. Switched over for Gustavo Rodriguez. Rodriguez. Eyes lit up. Saw the bit of space. Coming up at halftime, we look around the Big Ten and take a look once more at that top 25 preseason poll. One of the 3 ranked-on-ranked matchups here tonight, New Hampshire and Maryland. Maybe one last opportunity up the field here for New Hampshire as the clock ticks down. Joining the fray, Addy Hicks. Kamal, it's deflected. Hicks was there, and the clock will expire on the first half. New Hampshire started strong. Maryland counterpunch got the goal. New Hampshire working their way back into it, but never quite got back to the rhythm they found early.
No, the only difference, it's been very back and forth game. It doesn't look like the first game of the season. It's been a fantastic match thus far, but it's just how Maryland are in that attacking third. They have numbers, they have waves. If they don't get the first, they win the second, and they continue to rotate the ball in and around that 18-yard box from right to left, whether it's crossing, whether it's 1v1 dribbling ability. It's been so much different on the opposite end, where at New Hampshire, everything has gone through Von Nebel. There's no support from that wide area. I'd love to see that change in the second 45.
The goal belonged to Hunter George 13 and a half minutes into the match. Maryland keeps the lead 1-0 going going into the break. We're back in a few moments here on ESPNU. Under gray skies in College Park at Ludwig Field, where the hosts 20th-ranked Maryland Terrapins are up 1-0 on the 9th-ranked visiting New Hampshire Wildcats on the goal scored by Hunter George 14 minutes into the match. This is not the only big matchup of the day. We take a look around the Big Ten with the scoreboard here. Michigan fell 1-0 against Duquesne, and a few other ones to get to tonight. Penn State, the reigning regular season champions. Indiana, the reigning tournament champions. We meet them tomorrow night when they take on first-ranked Clemson in that marquee matchup of the week. And we take a look once more at the top 25 polls around the country. Clemson leads the way. Georgetown number 2, New Hampshire number 9, Maryland number 20. But Kaylin, so far Maryland has looked pretty solid. New Hampshire looks like they belong as well. These are two teams that we're going to have fun watching as the season goes along.
Yeah, I think this is why I alluded to it early on. I was like a little kid on Christmas because I didn't really know what to expect from this match. And it's been exactly what I thought. It's been very back and forth, but Maryland just look a little bit more bite between their teeth going forward in that attacking third, and then players stepping up huge on wide areas, Hunter George and Griffin Dillon.
We'll see how things go in half number 2. Will New Hampshire come back? Will they find a way to assert themselves here on the road and keep their unbeaten run going in the regular season, or will Maryland persist? We have more coming in a few moments on ESPNU. 1-0 lead for the Maryland Terrapins as they celebrate the beginning of Sasho Sarovsky's 30th year as the head coach. Mark Hubbard, in his 8th year, has to figure out how to keep things going for New Hampshire. They're unbeaten in their last 25 regular season games, but that is in jeopardy. Getting closer to the start of half number 2 between 20th-ranked Maryland and 9th-ranked New Hampshire, with the Terrapins up 1-0 so far at Ludwig Field after a really well-played first half. Welcome you back inside the booth alongside Kaylin Kyle. I'm Joe Malfa. Kaylin, as that half went along, Maryland grew into it, but you started to see towards the end the seeds planted for New Hampshire. They have a way back into this game. They had some sparks coming off the bench.
Yeah, they really did. Kamal coming off the bench, I think he added a lot. I'd love to see him start the second 45 minutes, but I think the only thing separating these two sides is you look at Maryland, it's service from wide areas. They've been so good, whether it's from the left, whether it's from the right, and really going at this back four. We touched on it early. Test this back four of New Hampshire early, but this is on the flip side of it. You have a player like Van Niebel. He's been so brilliant for this side, getting in those half spaces, getting those little looks over his shoulders, but he's got really no one to work with. And this is that service from wide areas, individual 1v1 brilliance. I mean, we touched on him in our pre-show of players to watch. Joshua Balma, so good. Great ball onto this back post, puts it, nods it back across. This finish looks easy. It's extremely difficult to do. I mean, you can just see how he has that backspin. He hits it on the half service. And then you can see another play here with Balma. He lets this one go, drives in front of this 18-yard box, uses his power, uses his strength, this pushes this one wide. But he is such a good player for this Maryland side. New Hampshire have to start locking him down, whether it's putting a 2v1 in and around this 18-yard box or starting to win these battles. Another good opportunity from Maryland. They continue to be ruthless inside this attacking third, just so good. And it's the numbers that they're putting forward, and it's because they're winning that first and second phase inside the half of New Hampshire.
New Hampshire has some comeback to do here. They're down a goal to keep their unbeaten regular season run since November of 19 going strong. He finished half number 1 on the bench, but Hunter George back out there in the number 7 for Maryland to begin half number 2. His goal in the 14th minute is the difference right now as Maryland leads New Hampshire 1-0 in this battle of top 20 teams. 9th-ranked Wildcats on the road here, looking to keep their run going. Haven't lost a regular season game since November 1st of 2019. They will have to battle back to keep that streak intact. And they've also been excellent in season opening matches under Mark Hubbard, 6-1 in his first 7 seasons in charge of the program. But this is some adversity now on the road at Ludwig Field against a strong Maryland Terrapins team. Kaylin, half number 2 on the horizon. What do you expect out of the Wildcats?
I think for New Hampshire, what they need to do is get the fullbacks more involved. I touch on a diamond midfield. It's one of the most difficult tactical adjustments to play because of the amount of energy you exert in a match. It's so extremely difficult, and that comes down to the wingbacks, the fullbacks, and also the central midfield of the Yannick Bright. He's got to drop a little bit deeper to allow those fullbacks more role and more leeway to get forward to create those 2v1s in flank areas.
And we're underway in half number 2. Maryland from left to right in the white, New Hampshire from right to left in the blue. Eli Goldman back into the match. He started, came off before halftime, back out there again.
I love that they kept Kamal. I was a big fan of him when he came in. When he came into the match in that first 45 minutes, I thought he just added so much, and he really allowed Von Niebel just to take eyes off of him. Because I think one thing what Maryland saw, the only really attacking threat was the number 8 for New Hampshire, Von Niebel. He was so good in between the team parts, wide areas, service from wide areas as well. So I think Kamal just takes a little bit of that added pressure off of him.
Malcolm Johnston has been a steady presence in the middle of the midfield for Maryland.
Dare I say it? Do you have an over or under on the second 45 minutes?
No, just the first 45.
He's Canadian.
He can impact the game in a variety of ways. As a freshman, he was used as a winger and a number 10. 4 goals, 4 assists that year in that role. Since then, mainly been deployed as a box-to-box holding midfielder and a key to their defensive success. Sasho Surofsky believes that Malcolm Johnston deserves national accolades this year that have not yet come his way, and he said he's very confident that that is a first-round pick in the upcoming MLS draft. Foot race here at the end line. Gemma Tay commits the foul as he pressures Nils Buchwalder.
I think the officiating, and this is something, if you've ever tuned into any of the broadcasts I'm on, I'm always very critical of officiating. I think he's been brilliant tonight against a very dynamic side, both of them getting stuck into challenges, not afraid to leave a little bit extra in, really try to set the tempo early on in that first 45 minutes and the second 45 minutes. He's done extremely well to be able to manage the momentum of this game, and it's very difficult to do as a referee.
Bear Estrada in charge of this one. Popped out wide to Hunter George. George goes east to west. Dug out by Goldman, but the foul called against New Hampshire.
I think one of the things that really excited me about Hunter George is we touched on confidence with him, but in the preseason matches, when I went back to watch them, he's not only good at putting the ball into the back of the net, but what he adds, he unbalances teams with his dribbling, his passing, the ability to roll inside, get behind the back four. It's extremely difficult to defend as a team when you do go back and watch game film on him. How do you defend someone that is comfortable doing everything, whether that's playing out on the right or the left? So that's great for him moving forward throughout this season.
Balma switches, Richardson camped under it. Good first touch. Richardson forced negative by Paul Mayer. Oh. Slipped through by Kolvik. Now Richardson hustling to keep it in play. And he does. Richardson pings it across. Zahetsky. Balma. And cleared by Bright. George, wait for it to come down. Got that left arm out for support, and it commits the foul. Not a bad finish, it won't count. You might pick up a yellow for it as well after the fact.
I mean, it's the right call from the referee. I think he's getting the yellow for obviously not listening to the ref when the initial whistle was being called. It's a great finish. Let's just be completely honest, but you can see the foul here. There's no intent behind this. There's no maliciousness behind this. He's just trying to push off from the defender. Obviously, defender gets the worst end of the stick here, getting a hand to the face. This yellow card, I think it'll be for the finish on this play, not that elbow to the face.
Not a bad finish.
great finish. But it's confidence. We touch on confidence, and I know I shouldn't be laughing at this point. You never want to see a player go down, but just to even have that confidence to say, you know what, I can have a go from here. I'm going to put this ball into the back of the net. I'm starting to build that off preseason because they played top teams in preseason. And when you do that in those 90-minute match performances, it helps you build not only confidence in yourself, but camaraderie and partnerships on the pitch.
Balma out to Costabile. Maryland last year finished 12-4-2 overall, 12-2-2 in the regular season before going one and done in both the Big Ten and NCAA tournaments, riding a streak of 21 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances going into this season, the second longest active streak in the nation. And they opened the year third in the Big Ten preseason poll behind Penn State and Indiana, the two teams who brought home the hardware last year. Penn State in the regular season, Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. Rindov switches out toward Balma, read well by Rodriguez. Balma. Now Bilal Kamal in the number 10 jersey for New Hampshire. Subbed on final dozen minutes or so of half number one. Greatly impacted the game. Gets the chance to begin half number two on the field and on it again here. Rising above Chris Rindov to knock that one away. Patience from Balma that we didn't necessarily see from him last year as a freshman. All the way back to Nicholas Neumann. This second half, out of the gates, a much different tempo than the first.
It is, and sorry for interrupting. This is the difference. You can see the shape of which when they are building up into the back. They get caught here, foul, but the difference between New Hampshire building up out of the back and Maryland building up at the back comes down to a defensive midfielder that is willing to pop in between those two center backs to allow the fullbacks to get high and wide and create overloads like this.
Here's Richardson. Richardson in the near post. No trouble for Colliot.
And that could come down to, we touched on the back four of New Hampshire, just that one starter from last season with Liam Bennett. Obviously, Bookwalder, he went down due to injury 5 games into the season and didn't feature in a starting 11 since then. It's back into the 11 here, but that's going to take time to just build those partnerships. And I think that's one of the most, eyeing things of this game is just the back four performances. They look a little bit more comfortable with Maryland and the defensive midfielders being able to start building out of the back and really start to create the tempo for their side.
George tries to split the defenders, draws the foul. And we might have a yellow out of the pocket here for Iber Estrada. Chris Pinkham in the crosshairs, and he picks up the card.
So just exchanging the yellow cards there. Obviously, earlier before you saw Hunter George pick up the yellow for that arm into the face here, but touch on confidence, this cheeky little touch across the defender. Good defensive play, because if he doesn't let him, or if he doesn't take this foul and commit this foul, he's through on to that 18-yard box, and it potentially led to a 2v1 if he did get on that half turn and pass that last defender down this right-hand side.
Ended up as Yannick Bright who picked up the yellow card there. Pinkham and Bright both involved. Bright picks up the card. Hunter George sends it goalward. Early change here in the half for New Hampshire. Johnny Wolf enters now for Gustavo Rodriguez.
It's a huge task for Wolf coming in. We didn't really call Rodriguez's name too much in that first 45 minutes, and not a lot in the second 45 minutes. So can Wolf come in and really implement himself, start to pick up a little bit more rhythm in those wide areas, get a little bit higher and wider to push Maryland defensively back a little bit, allow a little bit more breathing room to get your midfielders on the ball.
Johnny Wolf, another grad student here for New Hampshire, suffered an injury a few games into the spring 2021 season that cost him the rest of spring plus all of fall. was good enough in those few games in spring of 2021 to earn all-conference second team. He arrived at New Hampshire as a freshman in 2018, took a red shirt, and then as a sophomore and junior, 32 starts, 5 assists as a regular. So he's been in the program for quite a while, all the way back to 2017. Picked up a medical red shirt, had the extra year with COVID, and now as a grad student, looking to recapture that form as a key contributor, key starter in his sophomore and junior years. Van Nebel finds the loose ball. Kolvik swipes it. And it's out for a goal kick. William Kolvik, the sophomore center back here for the University of Maryland. Spent time in Norway with their U17 national team. Two-time Norwegian champion would stay back in 2017 and 2018. Last year, an all Big Ten freshman selection. For all of the turnover on the back line for New Hampshire, 3 of the 4 starters from last year no longer with the program. The exact opposite for Maryland. Same goalie, right back, right center back, left center back, the same. And your left back is a highly touted freshman from Denmark. Very secure at the back, and they haven't allowed New Hampshire through. Still no shots on target from the Wildcats.
I think Zorowski's matched up perfectly. He's come out with a brilliant game plan going against this New Hampshire side that plays that diamond midfield. He's gone with that 4-2-3-1 and really clogging up central areas. So it's almost at times a 5v4 in favor of Maryland, of how deep those front 3 do drop and just allow that front runner to push them either down the left-hand side or the right-hand side.
Loose in the box. Van Nebel was winding up with the right foot. Kamal keeps it alive. Liam Bennett passed on a shot, and now it's a whistle from Ibera Estrada. Free kick coming for Maryland, just outside their area. Sasho Zorowski likes to think of this Maryland program as a contender every year. The goal is always to be playing into December with a chance at the national title. But this year in particular, the focus on the Big Ten regular season and tournament titles. An empty trophy case ever since they put the national title trophy in there from 2018. They want to get back to the days of winning this conference ever since they joined it almost a decade ago. The whistle goes against Eli Goldman. And a change being prepared now for New Hampshire. Rory O'Driscoll getting ready to check back into the match. Griffin Dillon, advantage played by Estrada. Never really materialized for Maryland, but lasted long enough to not bring back the free kick. Neither side has really found the same rhythm in half number 2 as they did early in half number 1. It was a whirlwind of a start end to end that finally culminated in Maryland securing a goal 14 minutes in. And we're just about at that point now in the second half. Much different story. Gemate turns inside. Some desperation defending at the back from Chris Pinkham to get it away. Richardson up for Gemate. Got caught playing it one too many times in that tight space. Now Mayer.
But just defensively, even there, I mean, got caught too many times like you just alluded to down this right-hand side, but defensively, look at the shape of them. They create that 3v2, so even when the ball comes in, you can have someone that can be ultra aggressive off the front because you have that cover, you have that support, and you have that third player dealing with that second screen that's just coming off that back shoulder. It's so good set up defensively for Maryland. It's very impressive.
First time we're seeing Von Nebel take a breather. Oriel Driscoll comes back into the match, one of the captains for the Wildcats. Senior out of Minneapolis. 7 goals, 2 assists last fall. One of the 6 New Hampshire players to earn first team All-America East.
Do I dare tell them my trick about cramping, Joe?
Oh, we know it. It's disgusting, but we know it, and you might as well enlighten everybody.
I'm going to enlighten everyone. A little bit of a trick. If you are a cramper, if you're a runner, if you're a soccer player, your Wednesday night pickup matches, whatever you play in, keep a little packet of mustard in your sock and shoot it. It'll take the cramp straight away. Heinz works the best.
Now,
I'm not looking for a sponsorship, but
okay?
it's the truth.
I love a good spicy brown.
No, you can't do Dijon. No, you can't do Dijon.
Not Dijon, spicy brown, the good stuff.
Well, that's spicy, or isn't brown usually spicy?
Well, there's Dijon. It's kind of brownish. I don't know. There's too many mustards.
You got to do the Heinz. The yellow Heinz is your key saver. You're welcome, everyone.
I could do it.
I'll take Venmo or Cash App.
I could do it as a condiment on a lot of dishes. I don't think I could just do it straight up. I'd rather
You
cramp.
can if you're... No, you don't. That's a lie.
I heard pickle juice, too, helps. Is that a lie? Not as good as mustard.
No, mustard.
Mustard's
Well, mustard's
king.
easy, right?
All right. Mustard is king. There you have it.
Everyone's like, what are they talking about? Just try it.
If you're just
Thank me
joining us,
later.
this is not a show about mustard. This is a ranked-on-ranked matchup between New Hampshire and Maryland here at Ludwig Field. Alongside Kalen Kyle, I'm Joe Malfa. The goal scored 14 minutes in by Hunter George. The difference right now in this one, as Maryland looks to snap New Hampshire's 25-match unbeaten run in regular season play, going all the way back to November of 2019.
Such a great switch of play there. The confidence of this Maryland side, it's a pleasant surprise, I'll say. Because they touched on the attacking threats. When we're on the coach's call, just are we going to be able to put the ball into the back of the net against top opponents? And they've done that. And they've done it in different ways. Quick switch of play from the center backs, playing out of the back over that defensive setting press of New Hampshire, playing through centrally, playing in wide areas, fullbacks. I mean, it's been outstanding.
Bilal Kamal. Now Mayer left it short of the charging Eli Goldman. Next Saturday, the top matchups of the day highlight the ABC College Football Week 1 lineup. Number 11, Oregon, and number 3, Georgia square off 3:30 Eastern. Brought back inside. Kamal here curling it high and wide. Opportunity briefly for New Hampshire. Then after Oregon and Georgia square off at 3:30 Eastern in the annual Chick-fil-A kickoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific when 5th-ranked Notre Dame takes on number 2 Ohio State at the Shoe in Columbus in the Saturday night football game presented by Capital One. Both games also available on the ESPN app.
This is a great play down this left-hand side. Lovely little touchback. And I'm delighted they decided to stick with Kamal in the second 45 minutes because what he's added, he stays in the biggest spot. He could have been sucked in and hoping for that cross to come in. Just pulled off the back of that defender. Just misses this one high and wide. But the confidence that he brings and the spark that he brings to this New Hampshire side and just the partnership that he also brings when Von Nebel was on the pitch, Dresco now on the pitch. It's just been very, very good for New Hampshire.
So we saw Jamie Davis check out the final 10 minutes or so of half number 1 in favor of Dylan Maxson. Davis got the chance to start half number 2 again, but it's a much shorter leash this time. Just 15 minutes in, it's back to Dylan Maxson.
And I'm not really shocked. We didn't really call Davis's name too much. He wasn't really being a threatening midfielder that they need when you are playing in that diamond midfield. You got to be big. You got to be brave. You got to love to take on defenders. We just didn't see that in the first game of the season from him.
Brought through the middle by Hunter George. Has options left and right. Goes center and loses it. Now here is Maxson. Brought down by Richardson. Goldman fighting from behind. And it is a foul called against Eli Goldman. 10 appearances last season, all off the bench, but he scored 3 goals in that substitute role last year. Now this year, thrust in as a starter. Has flashed a couple of times, but hasn't found anything goalward. The best opportunity for him came all the way back in the first few minutes when Von Nebel played that ball in from the right side. A sliding Goldman at the back post put it wide. It would have been a difficult finish, but he got into a dangerous area. Picked up again by Kamal. Mayer on the run, looking over his shoulder, splitting the center backs, and Neumann is there.
And this is why, though. This is why the strikers haven't really been into those dangerous goal-scoring areas. You look at the team parts and just how stretched they are. Just too far, too deep, too defensively. You got to get your numbers higher up the pitch. You got to get your fullbacks more involved as well, because everything is, first thought, play forward, try to find our front runners. And Marylanders dealing with it quite well. The communication that they have to always be a man up throughout the entirety of this match so far. I don't want to give it the commentator's curse, has been spot on.
Another change on the way now for Maryland. Back into the match, Stefan Capetti. That'll be it for Hunter George for the time being. Same swap was made in half number one. Fresh legs of Capetti, now with a chance to impact this one. Capetti just transferred this year from Marist. Has 2 years of eligibility remaining. In his time at Marist, 14 goals and 39 starts. First team all-conference and all-rookie team back in his freshman year. His dad, Jack Capetti, actually played at Maryland from 1985 to 1988, three-time all-ACC selection. So now back with the same program that his dad came through. Rindov backtracking, now it to Richardson and cleared. Kamal for Maxon. As New Hampshire attacks from right to left in the blue, Maxon gets it out to Pinkham. Pinkham brought down by Johnston. Bolma didn't see O'Driscoll. Goldman lost it. Players were looking around for a whistle that never came. Kolvik on it again. Richardson through for Capetti. Out wide for Costabile. Luca Costabile takes his space. Somehow finds it again. Through for Bolma. Colliot wise to it off his line.
Good job defensively from New Hampshire, just having that cover and support, good angles, especially against a good Maryland side attacking. And this is difficult to do. It's going to take a few games for this New Hampshire side to find the camaraderie and just that understanding of this back four, just that one returning player into the starting 11, Liam Bennett. Other than that, it's new partnerships they have to be able to deal with.
Kolvik thought Neumann was coming out there. That ball ran out of steam, and Goldman almost turned the corner. Just to exchange some words. A quick high five, back on the same page now.
Kolvik's been very good as well in this Maryland side. You can just tell he's that dictator in this back line, telling players where to go, moving that midfield, showing them where they need to screen. And ultimately, that just makes a back four's job easier. So you want very vocal goalkeeper, you want two very vocal center backs. It's a midfielder's dream when you do have that communication coming from behind.
Van Nebel back into the match now. It's Paul Mayer who gives way. That ball not quite in the corner, but it's taken anyway by O'Driscoll. Johnny Wolf guarded tightly by Bolma. Big age disparity there in that challenge. Bolma, the sophomore, against Wolf, who's at this point, I guess, a super senior. Started back in 2017 with New Hampshire. That was one aspect of this matchup that Sasha Sarovsky was quick to point out in our discussion with him, the experience of New Hampshire. A number of players in their grad years, an average age up around 23, 24, and you don't get that often from a college program. A very experienced team through and through. They're going to have to rely on that experience now, New Hampshire, to find a way back in this game when not much has been working. A chance to go down by 2 goals here if Maryland hurries. Cutting and shooting, but wide. Stefan Capetti had the chance. Alex Nitzel back into the match now. Costabile will exit. I'll look back now at this ball played through.
It's a brilliant outside of the foot pass, just splitting that center back channel. Capetti on the ball. And This is, we touch on experience with New Hampshire, but the experience that this Maryland side's showing tonight, just having that calmness and that presence in that attacking third, could have ripped that one with his left foot, forced it, tried to go 1v1, just slowed it up, got it back onto his strong foot, onto that right one, and then had the confidence to have a go. Yes, outside the 18, but this is what you love to see. That was the biggest question mark going into the season. Who is going to be your goal-scoring threats from Maryland? Quite frankly, they have 5 good ones now in that attacking side.
They really believe the pieces are there this year. Not only to go back to the 2018 team that won it all, but 2016 and 2017 Maryland were much better than they even were in 2018 offensively. The key piece that's missing in the eyes of Sasho Surofsky is the chemistry, and that will come as the year goes along. But a shortened preseason, they crammed 3 matches into there. A lot of new faces in that attacking front, but talented players who, once they get going, can be dangerous. Set piece on the way here for New Hampshire. Drop back for Bookwalder. Out wide to Pinkham. Pinkham's cross blocked down by Nick Richardson. Hold up in the play for a substitution. New Hampshire, it's Tag Healy back into the match for Eli Goldman. Long toss from Pinkham. We saw it in the first half. Flicked on goalward here, and Neumann is there for it. Player down, injured now for Maryland as Neumann throws the ball out of play. Training staff waved down on the field. Richardson being worked on. You hope this is just perhaps another cramp, but we've seen already in this match just some other players. Number 22, left side of your screen. Came down a bit awkwardly maybe on that left leg. And
no, it's definitely a cramp. I think it's one of those, it's late in the game. You can see how the trainer is stretching it. You never want to jump to conclusions, but as a former player, when the trainer's out like this, just pushing that toe to your chest and just trying to stretch you out, it does look like a little bit of a cramp to me.
And apparently they weren't listening to you, because
no,
I don't
weren't.
see any mustard out there on the field at the moment.
You know what, Heinz? You can just throw a sponsorship my way. No problem whatsoever.
Richardson is going to go for a brief break here. Jacob Chacron into the match. Another senior out there for Maryland. Plenty of experience out there as they try to see this game through, and that's one area where this team has lacked in previous years, between the COVID year making things a bit murky with the roster and players graduating, being injured, leaving to the pros early. They never really had a chance to grow together as a big junior and senior class. So what we're seeing right now, a grad senior for a regular senior, that wouldn't have happened in years prior, and it's that experience that they believe can carry them back to the heights of 2018 this year.
I think they have a good mix, and speaking to Surofsky, he had said that. This almost feels like the winning team from 2018. I mean, they're welcoming 9 freshmen into this season, but then they have that youth, they have that experience, they have players that went through COVID. Let's just be completely honest. That is very difficult to do, to be able to play in an empty stadium with no friends, no family, no home fan. It's not even a home field advantage anymore. So,
played through here. The flag does go up. Gemate didn't quite time it properly.
So that helps build with your team as well. And so you can take all the negatives out of having those years of no fans in the stands, but it also adds to the culture and the identity of the team. If they can play matches like this, correct call again from the linesman and the officiating, well done for this one. But I love the ruthlessness of this Maryland side. I mean, what Maryland has created here, this is going to be a very dangerous team this season if they continue performances like this. I know we have 20 more minutes to go, so loads of time for a very good New Hampshire side, but just tactically when they move forward, it just looks a little bit lackluster and a little bit individualized and not a team performance in that final third.
for New Hampshire. They're still looking for that first shot on target. 6 shots in the match, none of those on target. Bear in mind, Maryland was terrific last year defensively. They were one of the top 10 teams in the country in terms of goals allowed. And New Hampshire getting a taste of that today. Chacron up to Dillon. Well read centrally by Yannick Bright. It's been that next ball for New Hampshire that has been missing after they won that loose ball in the midfield. Linking play into the attacking third. All the way back again for Neumann. We have 2 great MLS Western Conference matches for you tomorrow night. The first one as first place LAFC taking on second place Austin FC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And it's a Cascadia Cup matchup between the rival Timbers and Sounders at Providence Park, both on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app. Kamal turns. Back along to Bennett. Over to Bookwalder. Colin Griffiths getting ready to check back in from Maryland. Some fresh legs atop the lines. They have an opportunity to counter while they back it in here in preservation mode of this 1-0 lead. They can pull this off, a victory over a top 10 ranked opponent to begin the season. Does wonders as the year goes along, looking at RPI, looking at the polls and potential standing come tournament time. It's Griffith for Gemete on the Maryland side, and it's Paul Mayer back into the match now for Yannick Bright for New Hampshire. Bright was pulling up a little bit centrally. He went down with that cramp a bit earlier, so you wonder if that has anything to do with the swap here, getting Mayer back in. Could also just be a team right now that needs to go for a goal, taking off their holding midfielder in Yannick Bright and bringing on another striker in Paul Mayer. Kamal. Battle ensues along the sideline. Capetti flips it through for Sahetsky. Back for Capetti. Now Palma up the left side. Capetti and cleared by Wolf. Under 20 to play here at Ludwig Field in College Park alongside Kalen Kyle. I'm Joe Malfa, thrilled to have had you along this evening on ESPNU as the Division I men's soccer season begins this week.
Done.
And we have 3 ranked matchups this week, the first being this one here, number 9 New Hampshire against number 20 Maryland.
And I guess I'm a little bit surprised that New Hampshire is still deciding to stick with this diamond midfield. They have the ability to switch formations, and right now they're getting dominated in the midfield. Maryland all over them. You alluded to it early on, that first and second phases, having the cover, having the support, and then really having more numbers up in the midfield. Sometimes it's looking like a 5v4 in favor of Maryland. So tactically, I'd love to see them change a little bit just to create a little bit more service from that wide area. As the game gets late, you can throw more numbers forward.
Here's Griffin Dillon, had the assist on the opening goal, flaring it toward the back post. And Colliot had it read the whole way, wants to send it long and wants to do so quickly, waving everybody forward, looking for Mayer. It's Rindov first to it for Maryland. This is not a New Hampshire team that struggled for goals last year. They were second in the nation in goal differential at plus 37. They had a nation-leading .466 goals allowed. Gave up 10 goals throughout the season, scored 47. And now Chacron takes a weird deflection out for a corner. The crew enjoying every moment of this back behind the goal here.
And Maryland not taking the foot off the gas pedal, just so creative. And this is what's exciting, and I think a little bit different than what we saw in the preseason. Just the ability to be fluid, whether it's your starters, whether it's players coming off the bench, the momentum has not shifted for them.
Olma ready to trigger the corner. The crew grows in numbers as the season goes along. It was a bit tongue-in-cheek from Sasha Sorofsky. He was upset that we had this game nationally at 6 p.m. because give it till 8 p.m., everybody ready to get out there under the lights at Ludwig. And freshmen starting to move in, students getting back onto campus this week. You know, it's come next week and beyond that every single segment of the bleachers will be full behind both goals. Not quite the numbers tonight, but they've made their voices heard.
They're loud, though, I will say that.
They want to cheer on another goal for some insurance here for the Terps. A second crack at it for Bulma. Driven ball low inside, and they will cheer for a second goal. It's the freshman Colin Griffith in his debut.
This Maryland side, I just had spoken moments earlier saying they haven't taken the foot off the gas pedal. They weren't happy with one, so why not make it two? Ball comes out to this right hand, and instead of putting this one back into the mix, they find Beaumont, who's been absolutely fantastic. But this service here, it's low, it's hard, it's driven, it's whipped behind the back four, whipped away from the goalkeeper, so the goalkeeper can't contest this. But it's a brilliant run. You can see Griffin just staying off the shoulder of the center back. You can just see him pull up his run a little bit, coming into the pitch. A brilliant second goal, a fantastic celebration, and a well-deserved 2-0 lead.
He's all amped up after that goal, runs right into O'Driscoll off the kickoff, helps him back to his feet. Still all smiles from the freshman from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. He's still finding a rhythm with the team after missing some time of camp due to the MLS Next All-Star Game. Led the U17s in MLS Next with his club PDA to the final in 2021 as the team's top scorer, best 11 in MLS Next. Again, just coming off that All-Star game. They have a lot of excitement around this kid. He's played internationally at the youth levels for Barbados.
And I saw him at the MLS Next All-Star Game because I was there for the MLS All-Star Game, and so I decided, you know what, I'm going to go over and watch this game. And he was electric. What he added, that smile on the face, you saw it the entirety of the game when he got his minutes. So it's great to see that that has transitioned back into college and bringing that experience of being at a major event like that. I mean, he was around the Chicharritos, the Reynosos, top players in Major League Soccer. Being around that environment, being in and around the locker room as well, that adds to your experience. And you saw it there, just being able to pull off that back shoulder of the defender, slow your run up a bit. That's from watching the top players do it in Major League Soccer, Champions League, La Liga, Liga, whatever you watch your football in, and you can see it here.
For a freshman looking to build confidence going into this season, for a program looking to answer last year's goal-scoring questions, not much better than getting a goal in your debut.
I keep calling it football. I got to call it soccer. I'm sorry. I forget.
Corner on the way for New Hampshire. It's a long road back now. If it was a small hill moments ago, it's looking like a sizable mountain now. Still without a shot on target in the match. O'Driscoll will deliver. Swings it toward the back post, punched away by Neumann. Wolf camped under it, swing and a miss. Bulma takes it the other way. Bulma over the top. And it's cleared out of play now. College football season starts Saturday, and the 17th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff game has Howard squaring off against Alabama State at Center Park Stadium in Atlanta, formerly Turner Field. Our celebration of the HBCUs begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app. If you're Mark Hubbard now and this New Hampshire side, what do you take from this game, Kalen, going through the rest of your schedule? Sure, that regular season run is seemingly going to come to an end, but they have their sights set on more as this year goes along, wanting to be in a position to host through the first couple of rounds of the tournament. They believe a national title is within reach this year with the experience and the talent.
I think this is a humbling moment for them. I think they're going to have to go back, watch game film. I mean, for me, the second 45 minutes, they've been played off the park by Maryland, but these are those growing moments. It's great to go undefeated in season, but if you can't do it, like you alluded to, they've been knocked off so many times on the road, it's very difficult. You don't understand the rest, the recovery, the nutrition, the hydration. It's very different. You're seeing a lot of these players go down with cramping at the moment, and it comes down due to travel and playing in an environment you're not used to. So definitely a humbling one, something they're going to have to learn and grow from. but also they gotta look at being a little bit more creative in that final third and then being tactically able to adjust in match. Right now, they decided to stick with the diamond, and that's great if you're having maybe a chance or two, but they haven't had any good goal-scoring chances. You've got to be able to be flexible, maybe jump out of that diamond into a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, match that midfield battle that Maryland's been throwing at them here this evening.
And we've seen a lot of looks from New Hampshire, cycling players up top. Tague Healy had his chance off the bench in favor of Paul Meyer. Now it's David Brogue coming in for Tague Healy. They miss, it appears, Tola Shawumni up on top of the formation, the reigning striker of the year in the America East Conference. There was no official word on if he would be available for this match. Did not show up on any injury report or anything of the sort. To our knowledge, he was available for New Hampshire, and we haven't seen him this evening. Back to Pinkham. Brogue plays out of it, through to Bennett.
And you can see the frustration of New Hampshire, but it's the defensive work rate of Maryland. I mean, 11 minutes to go, and look at how many players are behind this ball. Cover, support, good spacing, good visual awareness, knowing when to step, when to press. Which leads to this. I mean, they have been, for me, the better side. I think that first 45 minutes, it was very back and forth. Maybe for that first 30 minutes, Maryland started to grow into the match. And the second 45 minutes, it's been all Maryland. They've been outstanding tactically, defensively, offensively, set pieces, substitutes coming in and not taking the momentum off.
They take on Liberty at home on Sunday, and they have a few days off before they host Denver next Friday, Maryland. And they have DMV week. They've been doing it the last couple of years. UVA and Georgetown, two other powerhouses in the area. Georgetown right now ranked second in the country to begin the season. They'll face UVA on the Monday at Audi Field, home of DC United and the Washington Spirit. And then on Saturday, they will visit Georgetown in what could potentially be a meeting of top 10 teams, question mark? You get a win like this, if it still turns out to be that for Maryland. Georgetown, if they hold serve, as many expect them to on their end, we're looking at an early September top 10 collision between two powerhouses in the DMV area. Von Nebel out wide for Maxson. Looking back post, nobody making that run, and no trouble for Neumann. Griffith calling for it near midfield, and it slips all the way through for Pinkham. Under 10 now to play. New Hampshire trailing by 2. Goal 14 minutes in by Hunter George. And then in the second half, it was Colin Griffith, 75 minutes into the match. Gustavo Rodriguez getting ready to check back into the match now for New Hampshire. It'll be Nils Buchwalder on the way out. Next Saturday, the top matchups of the day highlight the ABC College Football Week 1 lineup. Number 11, Oregon, and number 3, Georgia square off at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific in the annual Chick-fil-A kickoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Then at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, it's 5th-ranked Notre Dame against 2nd-ranked Ohio State at the Shoe in Columbus. And the Saturday night football game presented by Capital One. Both games also available on the ESPN app. Bulma, flag comes up. Next up for New Hampshire, 3 at home against Boston University, VCU, and then FIU before they go on the road against Providence into September. A pair of ranked opponents for the time being. Number 18, FIU on that Saturday the 10th, and then Tuesday the 13th, a quick turnaround against currently number 16 Providence. So New Hampshire with 2 more top 20 opponents on their schedule in the non-conference portion early on here. Try and get back on track. A chance to make this interesting late here. Von Nebel now to Kamal. Here we go, buckle up. A 1-goal game with 7:20 to play.
You can see the ref just trying to get hold of this match at the moment.
Javier Estrada bringing the players over now. Mayer and Kolvik, cooler heads prevailing, but those cooler heads now have 7:17 to play in a one-goal game. Courtesy of Bilal Kamal, scored 9 goals through his first 3 years at New Hampshire, mostly in a reserve role. Came off the bench today and sparked things in the second half.
He completely changed how this team played. Route 1 football, we touched on this, soccer. They weren't winning the first and second phases. They won the first phase, they won the second phase, and then a sloppy deflection here. Unlucky, by the way, but Kamal just having that confidence. We saw when he came into the pitch, he's been the best player on the pitch since coming into this match for New Hampshire. Deserved to get the start in the second 45 minutes and then was clinical on that finish. 2-1, 7 minutes to go. Loads of time on the clock for New Hampshire to pull this one even. Great response as well.
Through all we've seen in this match, it would be something if New Hampshire is able to salvage a draw out of the equation. They score their first goal of the match on their first shot on target of the match, here with 7:21 officially on the clock. It was their 8th shot of the match, none too menacing, not their first on target. And now things get a bit interesting down the stretch. The insurance goal of Colin Griffith, the freshman, looming large for Maryland. Griffith loses it. Knocked out of play. Right back in by David Brogue. New Hampshire in the blue, surging now from right to left, looking for an equalizing goal.
New Hampshire got to get their back line up a little bit tighter and higher. There's absolutely no attacking threats from Maryland playing on that back line. They got to condense the space, allow the fullbacks to drive higher, wider, service from wide areas, let your midfielders stay a little bit higher as well to get that late game equalizer. Got to condense the team though.
Richardson now back into the match for Maryland, left with the cramp earlier. Chacron came in, now back to Richardson to close this one out. Costabile plays it ahead. Ahead here, some contact in the area. Balma goes down, looking for a call.
Well
waved
done.
off by Estrada.
Well done from the referee. Officiating has been brilliant tonight. Has been good from the first whistle to the second whistle. He's been spot on. He's been fair. He's been equal. No, you can. This is smart though. Joshua Balma, he can feel the pressure coming across. Is there a little bit of contact? Yes, but it's shoulder to shoulder. Correct call from the officiating. Balma just trying to sell that one a little bit.
Foul coming the other way now. Some frustration from New Hampshire.
I don't mind this from New Hampshire though. We hadn't seen this for about, I would say, 35 minutes. There was no fight, there was no bite, there was no one getting stuck into tackles, and that's where they looked most dangerous in that first 45 minutes. They started on the front foot, they pressed high up the pitch, got stuck into tackles. When the first one missed it, the second one came clawing through. So I don't mind picking up fouls in that offensive end, just to add a little bit of spark into this game.
Jiwoo Lee into this match late for New Hampshire, picks up a yellow card for knocking the ball away after the fact. Elsewhere among the top 25 in action right now. Scoreless between Fordham and Hofstra. Air Force up 1-0 on number 24, North Carolina. 14th ranked Marshall up 1-0 on VCU. 11th ranked Tulsa up 4-1 on Marquette. You've got 6th ranked Kentucky scoreless against UIC. Notre Dame scoreless against Seattle, and West Virginia up 1-0 on Robert Morris. And still to come at 8 Eastern time, number 2 Georgetown against number 7 Pittsburgh. Bulma racing toward it. Under 5 to play now at Ludwig Field.
Ooh.
The temperature of this game has risen significantly over the last few minutes. Capetti picks up a yellow card.
It's just a silly yellow card, and this is one thing that you can learn and you can grow from as a player. 4 minutes to go. You're 2-1 up in this football match. Got to keep your head. Don't go back at the referee. It's the correct call. He comes across. He doesn't win. He wins the ball after committing the foul, so I can see why he's angry. But you just got to walk away from these situations. You don't want to cost your team a game. You're picking up a yellow card. Maybe you got to have a late tackle late in this match that potentially has a sending off. I mean, you just got to be smart in moments like this.
Clock holds at 4:05. Jamie Davis getting ready to check back in now for New Hampshire. Same goes for Herman Gemete on the Maryland side. 4 to go. Can New Hampshire pull a rabbit out of the hat and keep the unbeaten regular season streak going, dating all the way back to November 1st, 2019. Since then, they have 21 wins and 4 draws in 25 regular season games. Pinkham takes it into space. Everything committed forward now for New Hampshire on the front foot the last few minutes. Even before that goal was scored, it was building. It has continued in their favor ever since getting that goal. One trickles over the line for a goal kick. Here come the subs for Maryland and New Hampshire. Jiwoo Lee out of the match for Jamie Davis. And Colin Griffith out for Herman Gemete. So Griffith leaves with what would be the game-winning goal for the freshman as Gemete comes back into the match. Pinkham. Just over 2 remaining now. You could see on the Maryland bench what it means. Everybody up on their feet, including Sasho Zarowski in his 30th season now in charge of this program. Played inside. Von Nebel leaves it. Back toward Kamal. Davis. Kamal O'Driscoll out wide for Pinkham. Under 2 to play and cleared by Johnston. Colliot all the way out for it. Bennett. Is there an equalizer in this from New Hampshire? Pinkham keeps it in. 90 seconds remaining. Pinkham cutting. Crossing toward the back post and headed off frame. Paul Mayer had the opportunity.
And this is the New Hampshire I wanted to see from minute 1. Fullbacks getting more involved. Look at the success that they had. Look at the rotation that they've had. And yes, this usually happens when you're going for that late game equalizer. But Pinkham, we haven't really called his name at all. Last 10 minutes of the game, he's been outstanding. Balls from wide areas, creating those overloads, good service into the box. This is what you wanted to see 45 minutes ago, coming out into the second 45.
We see it instead now with 1 minute left. Is it too little too late for New Hampshire? Can Maryland see this over the finish line? Or will the Wildcats have one last say in the final outcome? Just one shot on target. It was that goal by Kamal. at the moment holding up as the game winner. Colin Griffiths in the 75th, the freshman in his first appearance, notching his first goal, could prove to be a game winner as the clock holds. Clock continues to wind. Has to be one last rush up the field now for New Hampshire. The countdown starts at 10 at Ludwig Field. Out to midfield, O'Driscoll cleared the other way, and the Maryland Terrapins will knock off 9th-ranked New Hampshire at home to begin the season. It's New Hampshire's first loss since November of 2019 in regular season play. And that does it for us tonight from Ludwig Field. For the crew that makes this possible, and my broadcast partner, Kalen Kyle, I'm Joe Malpa saying good night from College Park. Coming up next, Geico High School football down in Texas.